Hello, welcome to our Generator Skills Impact Series. My name is Nadel, and I'm the Vice President of our Generator Skills program. And I am here with Amber from the Ascent Engine. Welcome, Amber.
Hi, it's good to be with you today.
It's so good to have you, and thank you so much for joining us today to talk through the partnership that we've been working on over just about the last year or so. Just to get started, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your organization and this project that we've been working on?
Sure. So, my name is Amber Rahn, and I'm the Director of Workforce and Regional Engagement for the National Science Foundation funded Ascend Engine that is actually housed in an organization called Innosphere. And our mission is to build a future-ready workforce across Colorado and Wyoming. It's a workforce that can support rapidly growing technology sectors that are tied to things like environmental sensing, aerospace, wildfire resilience, water systems, and advanced computing. And for Innosphere as an organization, we really sit at the intersection between innovation and talent development. We don't want to just help companies scale. We want to help ensure that the workforce exists to be able to sustain that growth. And for us here at Innosphere, workforce development is really about economic mobility and regional vitality. It's about making sure that people, regardless of where they live, can access high quality careers without having to actually leave their communities. So it was a really great opportunity for us to try out this program in Wyoming and see if we could build opportunities where people were engaged at home and wanted to stay within the state of Wyoming.
Yes, and I remember back to our first conversations when we were kind of designing what the program would look like and how we were going to actually approach it. And I remember one of the things that you shared with us, which was that to your point that you just shared, you really wanted to make sure that the impact kind of for the individuals across Wyoming was robust. And was able to be sustained. And so, can you talk to us a little bit? But you also are, obviously you're talking about very high level industries that require very specific skills. And sometimes there's a skills gap between the individuals in the state that have those skills and then where you would like them to go. So, can you talk us through kind of how we landed on starting with where we started with the program tracks that we started on, and then moving forward, and how you see that over the years kind of evolving into what you think you're going to need?
Yeah, I mean, I think as we decided to build out the Ascend engine, it was one of our earliest priorities was really addressing that critical gap that you're suggesting. You know, how do we rapidly upskill adults into these high demand technical roles while also being able to reach out to our rural communities? And Generator immediately stood out for us because of their ability to deliver high quality training quickly. You could do that with speed, and there was flexibility. People did not have to go to a central location. They could train from home, and we could have strong employer alignment, actually having an employer voice across the state from a variety of different organizations saying, these are skills that are actually needed. We truly need them. Please, can someone come in and offer these trainings? And what really resonated with us was their commitment to meeting, or your commitment as Generator to meeting learners where they were at. And in a state like Wyoming, that's very important because we're trying to reach not just rural communities, which is a very spread out, it's a low population state, but also tribal communities, and they have different barriers to access to training. So it was important to be able to address that concern where technical training can be limited, but the talent potential is actually really enormous. So it quickly became really clear to us that this wasn't going to be just a vendor relationship. It was going to be more of a strategic partnership. Like if we were going to reach consistently over the coming years, out across the state, Generator just became the most likely partner in that situation to be able to listen and understand what our needs were and suggest, you know, different methods and modalities for being able to access these different populations. It was really just seemed to be a nice partnership.
Well, thank you for sharing that. We really appreciate it. And as you know, we love being a strategic partner because we like to be at the table when we have these discussions, just to bring in kind of like the trends that we've seen and our areas of insight, as well as coupling those with your areas of expertise from a local perspective. So talk to us a little bit about how partnering with the Skills Accelerator last year made an impact in what you were trying to push forward for the NSF Ascend funding, and what the future potentially might look like, or what you're trying to gain in the future.
Yeah, I think the way that it's made an impact, we've already seen a measurable impact. We just did a pilot with you all. We were like, let's see how this works. Let's give it a test run. And so we funded training for up to 50 learners, and that ended up being multiple little cohorts across since last spring into the fall. And we've already seen a measurable impact from individuals being able to gain marketable technical skills to employers actually gaining access to talent that is prepared and motivated and ready to go. But I guess what would probably excite me the most about it is the long-term ripple effect, just seeing a glimpse into that with our first cohort. When we have one learner that can transition into a strong career, that shifts the trajectory for families, it shifts the trajectory for communities. So there is this, powerful ripple effect. And there's also a really strong word of a mouth opportunity in the state of Wyoming where one learner goes and learns and then comes back and says, I gained these skills and I was able to get a job. And there's like a trust building process as you're working with the rural and tribal communities. So some people have to see it to believe it. And then they can actually see, oh, hey, I want to do training like that. And oh, it's funded by the engine. Like we want to participate. We want to learn. I want that new job. So, that partnership is helping to demonstrate that the world-class talent can be developed just anywhere. It doesn't have to be in major metro hubs. We can bring these skills and these opportunities to any portion of rural Wyoming or tribal Wyoming. And of course, we're also going to work within the more, populated areas of Wyoming too. And I think it's just exactly the kind of distributed, innovative ecosystem that Ascend is working to build overall across our entire region of service.
Fantastic. I'm excited for in the coming weeks, we're actually having one of our graduates from a tribal government in Wyoming on the Impact Series. And she talks about her experience. And to your point about the ripple effect, about how after she went through the program, she was able to share it with friends and family. And it was really from that actual word of mouth that other individuals took it seriously, which, as you know, and Stephen on your team knows, is one of the things that we all work really hard to do when we're not necessarily in the specific areas themselves is how do we get the word out about those programs? And we're really grateful for Stephen to have kind of done his cross the state, I'll call it like post office by coffee shop by library connections to all of the different areas where people do learn about these programs and can bring the information in. And also to your point with regards to long-term connection, we really like to partner long-term with y'all as well to make sure that we are continuing to deliver those job placement services and ultimately more career development as the individuals graduate from our program.
Yes, I have to give a quick shout out to Stephen. Everybody should be so lucky to have a workforce program manager like him. I think he drove over 2,000 miles and stopped in every mom and pop shop, workforce center anywhere across the entire state. He did two different trips across eastern and western Wyoming to get the word out and was so proud when he would hear, like, how did you learn about this program? Oh, I saw a flyer in some random shop and that person, it works. Sometimes you've got to go back to the old ways of marketing and super proud of him.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. To your point, we couldn't be more grateful as well. And also that's exactly how we get connected with those individuals in the most rural areas is by, connecting to places that are familiar to them and then making sure that the program becomes more familiar. So from your perspective, what makes our particular program unique to some of the other training programs that you've worked with?
Sure. If I had to think about that, a couple of things come to mind. I think what sets gener8tor apart is this kind of combination of rigor and humanity. The programs are structured around real employer needs, but it's nice because they also come in and provide coaching and support for the learners that helps them to be able to persist even if they kind of run into a roadblock. They're not left alone just at home trying to kind of be frustrated and figure out how do I get to the next point. There is a support system in place for them, which is often, I think, kind of the difference between someone just going through a training versus someone experiencing a transformation. And I think that there's also a really deep respect for community context. So I don't think that the programs are typically just kind of dropped into a region, but they are adapted to reflect local opportunity. So, we asked communities when we were trying to kind of plan our various cohorts, what is the skill that's needed right now? You know, you all offer a broad curriculum of classes. And so to really focus on a particular area and ask what are the skills that they are saying they need the most? Can we design a cohort around that? Or can we design a cohort that offers 2 or 3 different classes at one time? People can opt into that, or people can take one and then if they're doing well, advance on to the next level and keep going. So I think that just having that ability to advance and know that it's not just baseline material, but you can get more in depth is that rigor that really looks great on your resume. And I think just recognizing, I know I've worked with a variety of the gener8tor staff, and they know all of their cohort participants by first name. They can tell you about their story. They can tell you about their dog or their cat. You know, it's like they actually take time to get to know each of the students. And I think that that makes a difference in the relationship building and even just the student experience as they go through the class. And I think it's that sort of mindset that really, makes the best partnerships possible for these people as they're, going through and trying to excel in their careers.
I love the way you said that it balances rigor with humanity. I might steal that from you. So if you
Okay,
see
you
that
can
in the
have it.
future, I will definitely credit you. That is absolutely what we try to do. And then going back to the intention piece, same thing there is like making sure that our entire team is intentionally connecting with, meeting people where they are, recognizing where they want to go, and really providing that support and ultimate bridge to get there. If there is a gap or something that we need to do to work with those individuals.
Yeah.
And I
I,
love the way you said training and or not just training, but transformation. I might also steal that and give it to my marketing team. So you
okay,
are
there you
a
go.
kernel, you've got lots of kernels of goodness here, Amber.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and just to speak to that, I think in case people are unfamiliar with the program, even for people who go through the program and may not land a job immediately, there are all of these opportunities that are built in and the wraparound services afterwards to help build the resume, help to coach for interview processes, to remember who's in the network and say, let me help you connect with this person. They're actually looking for this. And there's lots of different opportunities. So it's not that you just complete the class and are done. Gener8tor doesn't just leave you high and dry. They're there to kind of help you work yourself into the talent pipeline. And I think that's, um, you know, I'm losing the word for it right now, but it's just a huge benefit.
Thank you. For our team, it's a never a goodbye. It's always a see you later.
There you go. Yeah.
Ultimately, until our participants tell us like actual goodbye and thank you for helping me. Um, so, what advice would you give to other organizations that are either similar to yourself, either with NSF funding or other types of workforce development funding, who are considering a partnership like the one that we have?
Yeah. I mean, I think in my opinion, the strongest workforce partnerships are built on things like trust, transparency, and a mutual commitment to overall learner success. So, if organizations are considering gener8tor, I would ask them to think beyond just the immediate hiring needs, and consider the broader ecosystem that they want to shape. I think that people start to understand that workforce development is long game work, but when we do it really well, it becomes one of the most powerful economic development strategies that we have available. So I think you've got to think big picture as opposed to just short term impact, and really see the vision of I may have an individual start in this class. But where would they advance onto and what is the potential? Just seeing the broader talent pipeline.
Absolutely. The long-term game is what we're all about, but it's also one of those things where on a daily basis, reminding ourselves that that's what we're about to stay motivated and to make sure that we're supporting individuals moving all the way through their career development is incredibly important. Last but not least, if you had one ask for our audience, what would it be?
Yeah, I think if I had one ask for your audience, it would be to stay curious about where your talent can come from. I think some of the most capable future technologists are individuals who simply haven't really had access yet to the training or the technology. And I think that when employers are able to expand how they think about talent, then we start to see innovation accelerate and move even faster because we have this broader applicant pool and a richer depth of skills. So I think if you're an organization that's interested in building workforce of the future, that it's important to consider you all as collaborators in that and just recognize that you all hold an important seat at the table. And I think that that's been a really One of the things that drew me to Generator right away was that you had a broader scope. It wasn't that we were just trying to upskill people in one particular area, but you were trying to see how can we get this to more women, to more people of color, to the broader regions of each state, and maybe even asking that question of like who's not in the room right now, and how can we get them in here to have an opportunity. So. Uh, I think that just staying curious about where your talent can come from and open-minded is really important.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And you're absolutely right that curiosity is one thing that drives us too as a company. And the more that we're able to stay innovative in the way that we're delivering programming so that it can reach the individuals that are looking to have skills, but also so that it can drive impact for those employers and the broader ecosystem. That's ultimately what we are here for and to design programs to represent and to be part of. So I really appreciate the partnership that we've had with the Ascend Engine, your entire team, and we're hoping that we can continue working together.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a long and happy relationship.
I love it. Well, Amber, thank you again so much for your time today, and we will speak with you soon.